Raj Mahajan is the president of SunGard's global trading business, which provides the infrastructure for the trading systems of financial institutions in 130 countries. Raj, great to have you here on Street Smart.
It's great to be here.
So you see a lot of what's going on when it comes to trading operations around the globe.
Yes, we do. We see transaction flows, capital flows.
All right, so talk to me about the difference in terms of what you're seeing in Asia. And as we mentioned, you're just back from Hong Kong, Singapore, and India, how that compares to what's going on here in the United States and Europe.
Yeah, it's night and day. There's probably two big trends. The first is every conversation I have in the United States with my customers, how can you help me save money? Because volumes are low, volatility is low, we're not generating as much commissions.
So your JP Morgans, your Goldman Sachs, your Morgan Stanleys, I mean, these are some of your clients. I'm not going to get too specific, but I mean, these are the kind of folks you're dealing with.
Absolutely. Whereas in Asia, coming back, the conversation is how can you keep pace with us? How can you invest more in these markets, provide more infrastructure, more connectivity, and all the tools you need in sophisticated markets to help us grow? And it's just a night and day conversation.
Raj, what's the access to markets in Asia like compared to the markets here in the U.S.?
Yeah, the primary participants that we're seeing in a lot of those markets, the demand is being driven by retail investors. I think that's another key difference. And in terms of it, most of the access is to single markets in countries. So, for example, in Thailand, there's one exchange that people trade within. In India, there's two exchanges, but one's more dominant. So whereas here you have the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, and many choices, dark pools, there it's, at this point, it's mono market, if you will.
But you know, as far as getting into those markets, I mean, you talk about keeping costs down, and everybody here in the U.S. has been maybe too focused on keeping costs down. Do you have issues there in Asia? I mean, do you have to go through a lot of red tape to trade for your retail customers, for example?
No, local brokers have a very straightforward experience in terms of getting market access and getting customers up and running, and that I'm not seeing that as a big issue. However, if you're a U.S. broker and you want to provide services in India or in China, there is, I wouldn't call it red tape, but there's definitely a process you have to go through.
Raj, what would you say, though, about what's going on here in the United States specifically? I mean, you talk about that they're looking to cut costs, become much more efficient. So what is it? They're worried about their margins, and this is kind of what's pressing them the most at this point?
Absolutely. So fundamentally, Carol, trade processing in the United States is a fixed cost business. Mm-hmm. You need to have a data center, telecommunication lines, market data. And so it doesn't matter if the volume is 9 billion shares a day or 7 billion shares a day. It's a fixed cost business. When those volumes have dropped, now everyone's looking at their fixed costs and saying, how do I cut that?
What about regulatory environment? How is that impacting what you guys do and your demand for what you offer?
Yeah. First of all, we offer a set of, SunGard offers a set of compliance tools. So we're seeing big demand around people surveilling surveilling insider trading, for example. So we're seeing a strong demand there. But for a sell-side firm, for a brokerage firm, it's yet another cost. Now there's a bigger regulatory burden that we have to invest in.
Do you see a need for a consolidation in those markets like what we're seeing the push for here?
I think the first step there before consolidation of those markets is creating linkages between markets. So one of the things that we're working on in Asia is how do we connect all of the different Southeast Asian exchanges and providing customers with access to, if you want to trade Foster's in Australia, you can do that, or in any number of examples.
Just the way it's all going.
Just the way it's all going. Like here, you could trade NASDAQ stocks in the New York Stock Exchange. It's not, that's not the way it is in other parts of the world, and that's where we want to help get them.
Right, they're still developing, no doubt about that. Raj, thank you so much.
Great.
Raj Mahajan of SunGard Global Trading Business.